You know, Christians ask me, what about Psalm 22 or Psalm 34? The dogs have encircled me, they divide up my garments, he keepeth all his bones. Aren't these prophecies of the crucifixion? What about Isaiah chapter 53, right? The golden egg of passion predictions. The first frame of the movie, The Passion of the Christ, was a passage from Isaiah chapter 53. The suffering servant, he is smitten and afflicted, a man of sorrows. He was wounded for our transgressions, bruised for our iniquities. He was as a dumb lamb led to the slaughter. He was cut off out of the land of the living. So if this isn't Jesus, then who is it then? I'll tell you who it is. It's Jeremiah. God sent Jeremiah to the Bani Israel, the Israelites, the chief priests, to warn them about the impending Babylonian doom on the horizon. And he was rejected, beaten, mocked, whipped, imprisoned, and finally killed for his troubles. He says in Jeremiah 11:19, I was as a dumb lamb led to the slaughter. I was ignorant of the snares I had laid for me. I was cut off out of the land of the living. He uses the same verbiage of Isaiah chapter 53 and applies it to himself. Scholars believe that either Isaiah chapter 53 was written by Isaiah or another prophet prophesying Jeremiah, or it was written in retrospect in Babylon by someone, a scribe, who was remembering what had happened to Jeremiah. Either way, it has nothing to do with the Jewish Messiah. Let's look at the real messianic prophecies. You know, Isaiah chapter 53, Psalm 22, the word Messiah, HaMashiach, in Hebrew does not appear anywhere in the text of these passages, yet Christians qualify them as messianic predictions. But when it does appear, like in Psalm 20, verse 6, it's suddenly ignored. Why? Because of what it says? This is what it says, and I'll quote it to you in the language of David himself. He says, Ata yed hatiki, Hoshia Adonai Meshiacho, Ya'annahu Meshemikocho, B'chvoroth Yesha Yamino. I know God saves His Messiah. He shall hear Him from His holy heaven with the saving power of His right hand. Or Psalm 91, which was believed by first century Jews to be a messianic prophecy, as evidence in the New Testament. No disaster shall befall you, no calamity will come near you, for He has given His angels charge over you, to keep you in your ways. They shall bear you up in their hands, lest ye dash your foot against a stone. The Jewish Messiah will not even stub his toe, because He has set His love upon me. Therefore I will deliver Him on high, because He has known my name. He shall call upon me, and I shall answer him. Remember, my Father, remove this cup away from me. Yet not as I will, but as Thou will, which is how a Muslim speaks. He says, Inshallah, God willing, if it is Your will. I will be with him in trouble. I will deliver him and honor him. With long life I will satisfy him and show him my salvation. Or Psalm 18, He delivers me from my enemies. Thou liftest me up above those who rise against me. Exactly what the Quran says. I will be with him in trouble. I will deliver him and honor him. With long life I will satisfy him and show him my salvation. Great deliverance giveth He to His king, and showeth mercy unto His anointed, His Messiah, His Christ. Now, by 110 of the Common Era, the so-called Gnostic elements within Christianity have recruited far too many people. So the Johannine community turned out the Gospel of John, basically to tie up the loose ends. This Gospel was written primarily to resolve two main issues. To prove the deity of Jesus, number one. How does it do this? By employing these I am statements, right? I am the way, the truth, and the life. Before Abraham was, I am. I am the resurrection and the life. I am the true vine. I am the bread of life. I am this and I am that. These are not found in the Synoptic Gospels. You know, all four evangelists mention that Jesus rode a donkey into Jerusalem. He rode a donkey into Jerusalem. All four evangelists. Is it really binding on my faith? Is it really binding on my salvation that Jesus rode a donkey into Jerusalem? Is it really that important? No. But the essential divine claims are missing from 3/4 of the Gospels. Also, it was written to prove His death and resurrection. How does it do this? By contradicting the synoptics. We are told in the synoptic tradition that when Jesus was being led to be crucified, the Romans pulled a man out of the crowd, Simon of Cyrene, and compelled him to bear the cross. There were many Christians in the 1st and 2nd century who believed it was Simon who was killed, like the Basilidians. So what does John do? He completely omits this entire episode and says Jesus bore His own cross to Golgotha, thus contradicting the synoptics. We are told in the Synoptic Gospels that at the most crucial juncture in the life of Christ, all of His disciples forsook Him and fled. Not a single one of them was witness to the crucifixion. Yet in the Gospel of John, the beloved disciple, the son of Zebedee, was at the crucifixion, in fact standing at the foot of the cross, thus contradicting the Synoptics. We are told in the Synoptics, the Gospel of Luke, that after just 3 hours on the cross, Jesus died. Now when this news was brought to Pilate, he marveled. This man is dead already? This is a man who made a career of crucifying Jews. And he was there to see the beatdown and the flogging and this and that. Yet he marveled. This man is already dead? You see? Many Christians in the 1st and 2nd century believe Jesus swooned, that he survived the cross, right? Thus fulfilling the sign of Jonah, which is from the Q source document, which predates Paul. An evil and adulterous generation seeketh after signs. No sign shall be given unto it except the sign of the prophet Jonah. For as Jonah was 3 days and 3 nights in the belly of the whale, he was alive, so shall the Son of Man, referring to himself, be 3 days and 3 nights in the heart of the earth. So what John does is, he invents the story that Jesus was impaled on the cross. He was impaled to ensure non-survival. And finally, the Gospel of John says that he was anointed on the night of the crucifixion. On the night of the crucifixion, by the secret disciples, Joseph of Arimathea and Nicodemus, thus contradicting the synoptics. So there's a definite theological agenda at work here. It's a polemical tractate. He didn't swoon, he wasn't substituted, and it wasn't an illusion. He died. Now what's interesting is, all 4 Gospels differ as to who went to the tomb, what they saw when they got there, and what they did next. It's different in all 4, and there is no post-resurrection narrative in the earliest Gospel, in the Gospel of Mark. Most scholars believe that the best and oldest versions of the Gospel of Mark end at Mark 16:8. Therefore, no one saw a resurrected Jesus according to the oldest canonical Gospel.